Hi folks, Masako X here, and welcome back to the Dragon Ball Super Manga reviews, and Chapter 90 promises to be the end of the pre-superhero arc, before we get into the main portion of the story. Yes, Gohan and Piccolo will be back. Now, these last three chapters have divided most folk, in the sense that most people reckon that Dragon Ball shouldn't be about slice-of-life chicanery. You can get it anywhere else. It should instead concentrate more on the action that Dragon Ball is best known for, but wait, the original series was mostly about character interactions and comedy, with of course some martial arts as well. And also people quite like the Saiyaman saga of old. We're just getting more of that with Goten and Trunks instead of Gohan and Videl. It feels a little bit mixed up, the opinion of this arc, but Haverock and I for sure have liked it for the first two chapters, but I get the feeling that the more negative opinions have actually won out since this is the last chapter. And you can also tell that this was cut short beyond Toyotaro's control. I'll explain why later, so please enjoy, and do consider subscribing to keep up to date with these reviews should you not wish to read them yourselves. I read these normally on Viz's online portal on the Shonen Jump app, for those of you wondering where I get to read it. It's not a sponsor, I just like the service is all. So let's get to the review. So if you're a Krillin fan, you are going to like this chapter, because Officer Krillmaster is asking residents of the Cricket District where the zombies work. And by the way, if you're confused, that's the zombie workers that Hedo created, so they are actually the reason why he has the money to make robots, because that's what's funding his research. Which is, I mean, okay, clever, but not exactly ethical. And so Krillin is directed to a convenience store where he does indeed find the zombies and invites them in for some questioning. But they obviously don't go down without a fight, and he ultimately has to arrest them. And why is that so? Because Krillin finds Mai. And I don't know why he would be distracted by this, because the fact is, though, she's been knocking around for about a few years now. This isn't something to go like, what? So Goten still has to keep up appearances that he's a city boy, so he uses Nimbus to get there most of the way, and then gets on the bus for the final stop. And Chuck is the one getting very, very suspicious about how come he knows Trunks even though he's a year younger than him? Ooh. But you think there's going to be a little bit of drama here, but it's just like, no, we live close to each other. It's not exactly something to go like, I'm onto you. Fayla then asks Goten to ask Trunks to take her to the dance party that weekend, because of course this is a high school and the prom's tomorrow! So yeah, Goten is being a wingman, but the fact is though, he is actually being quite considerate because he knows that Trunks likes Mai, so he's not going to try and give anyone false hope, which is very, very decent of the lad. But then Trunks declines to play video games with Goten and instead goes to buy some clothes. Hopefully not at the soup store. And Mai warns Goten that they're being watched, and this is the idea that I'm getting, that really without Mai, Goten and Trunks would be hopeless investigators. They're good fighters though. Mai is telling Goten all this because she's discovered that Dr. Hedo is a fan of Clean God, and he's going to be a special guest at the dance party. And she plans to lure Hedo out with that news because he's going to be performing. So that's the perfect opportunity, because she knows that he can't resist Clean God. So when we get to the party, Trunks decides to take the disc with him and leave it in the cloakroom for staff to deal with. And then Mai sees Hedo with Trunks and is ready to actually take a shot at the guy. You see, the whole present and future Mai thing? Maybe that's inspiration. But then of course Hedo and Trunks get talking about which is the bigger Clean God fan, and things kind of go south from there. And then of course the disc gets stolen, surprise surprise. So then Mai has to tell Trunks to turn into Saiyaman X1 and says that she knew the entire time, and you'll find out why. I actually think that's a lot of bulldookie. So yes, Hedo escapes and Trunks promises to catch him and become the coolest superhero, because now he's buoyed up because his gal likes him for that, not for him. That's not exactly something to be proud of, Trunks. So yes, Krillin then tells the boys that Hedo, Jiro's grandson, made those zombie worker androids, as well as the betas, and asks them to keep it from Bulma and the others, because he just can't let them know for some reason. Now, the Red Ribbon Army is around and after Hedo, and Krillin worries that if they join forces, something bad will happen. Indeed, but why have we got to find this out now? And yeah, we'll then get to the fact that what he gets charged with. But either way, Krillin says the disc data is dangerous, and Trunks confirms it because it contains creature blueprints. Why he couldn't have just transferred the data off the disc, then delete the contents of the disc, so that means Hedo wouldn't have the information? Although, because every mad scientist, he's already got it locked up here. Either way, it's a lot less smart than you might think. But I think I can almost forgive all of the issues that I have with this chapter, with the fact that Goten, Trunks, and Krillin get to fight a dinosaur. And also with like this really cool design, and they use Ki Blast, they go Super Saiyan, and hey, now Goten has something in common with Gohan. They both fought dinosaurs. They both had weird encounters with dinosaurs in their lives. There you go. Acting as the final kaiju-like beast of the Hedo mini arc before the superhero arc? Not bad. Not bad at all. Hedo gets arrested and only sentenced to 3 months? What? Surely he'd get life. Surely Krillin could justify the fact that Hedo should not be released to the public, or the Red Ribbon Army should be kept away from him, or maybe tell that the Red Ribbon Army exists again. All in all, this chapter was, not a really good one to finish off with. This is definitely a chapter where you get the feeling that Toyotaro has been told to hurry things along, since most likely sales figures and general reception for the idea probably weren't all that ideal, and instead they'd rather go to Superhero, which was actually received more positively. And one of the byproducts out of all of this is that this entire arc is basically the Mai show. Because think about it, had Mai not been around to help Goten and Trunks, Hedo probably might have actually been successful. He might have been able to enact his mission much more smoothly, only probably being defeated out of some bizarre and subversive and convenient MacGuffin that would have been far more contrived than what we actually got. And even that with Mai being around is pretty convenient. I mean, come on, think about it. Mai, throughout the entire arc, has just been there going, Trunks, don't you think that's a little weird that Beta's got that weird skin patch on his back? I don't know, Mai. Will you go out with me? Oh my god, you're weird. God, Goten? Well, I don't know, Mai. I'd rather not think badly about people. Oh my god, you two are terrible. Seriously, those boys are really good at kicking butt, but getting there, that's a bit of a struggle. But the chapter does serve Krillin a lot, at least. It really gets him to stretch his legs as both a cop and a fighter. It also really does us a good service. It helps explain more why Krillin's even around at all in the superhero movie, since now it's become kind of obvious that he has something to do with Dr. Hedo in the sense that he was the one to bring Hedo down and book him in, as well as of course taking down his zombie workers. So yeah, there's some kind of direct link to Krillin and Hedo, and also it explains why Android 18 is there, since she wants to obviously help her partner out and all. So that little influence of Krillin and the main antagonist of the actual movie arc, hey, there you go, that's kind of neat. It helps actually answer that question genuinely. Now, okay, the disc being destroyed. Missed opportunity, honestly. Could have really been neat to actually have a Capsule Corp-based cell-like being going forward. You know, Bulma finding a way to download the contents of the disc and just save them for later, but oh well. And also, the main significance that Hedo had with that disc at all wasn't anything to do with Jiro's research or the idea of Cell Max. He'd already locked that up here. But it was actually the autograph of Clean God that he concealed within the disc. Again, a letdown. Yes, I know we're looking for more meaning where there actually isn't any, but it would have been really nice lore building to actually explore what Hedo actually had in terms of a relationship with Dr. Giro. Now we really don't get to see any of that. It's just like, oh yeah, this really important disc, it contains an autograph. We are all aware that Hedo is a nerd, but yeah, that disc was a complete red herring. I don't know, it just gave Hav and I hope. And I still find it really bizarre that Hedo only got 3 months in prison, since he and his android zombies caused extreme amounts of damage to property and livelihoods. There's loads of stuff been going down. He's a typical supervillain in any kind of comic book movie. That usually results in millions worth of damage. Surely Hedo been responsible for it, and maybe getting 10 years in prison at the very least. But I guess maybe they got some leniency due to the fact the zombie workers and the families, they got some kind of plea bargain. Maybe Hedo got that too, but I don't know, it just seems really strange to me. And another thing, Krillin's revelation of the Red Ribbon Army being revived is a weird choice. Kind of reduces the impact, actually, of Piccolo's discovery in the movie portion of the story, where he just stumbled upon the Red Ribbon Army and is like, what? What? That was really good, it was a surprise. And if we put these two arcs together, now it's just something that we find out from somebody else, and they tell Krillin of all people. It's just like, oh, yes? Oh my goodness, the Red Ribbon Army! Thanks, plot device! Yes, granted, it could have just been mere speculation from other people and rumors, but the fact that a Dragon Team member had nothing to do with the discovery now? It's a little bit disappointing and a very odd decision to make. Why couldn't you just had some weird organization that was once thought departed, or something? Just a little bit of mystery there before Piccolo then goes, "Oh, so that's the mysterious organization. Ah! Good thinking, brain." Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that choice. And also, the students, they're really dense. Given that they got so close to rumbling Goten as Saiyaman X2, and yet don't confront him about it, they actually say, "Wow, Goten isn't around when X2 is around." Oh, damn, they get to miss out. I know, it's a typical convention and a trope of superhero stories, but this was really close. In fact, the beta robots go, "Ah, you're Saiyaman X2!" It was literally handed to them on a plate. Also, my revealing that she always knew that Trunks here was X1 was not what we saw in the previous chapter. Let's be real here. But again, this is just a way of wrapping things up more quickly before getting to the Piccolo section of the story, where Trunks barely shows up until the end, and Mai isn't even in it at all. Now, the date thing. I'm going with the angle here that Mai just said that to Trunks to shut him up. You know, to get him actually to go along with the plan. She said to go on as many dates as he wants, but she doesn't care to go on them in an equal capacity. This is again mainly down to getting Trunks to comply with the mission and to stop him fawning over her, and that impacting the final portion of the arc. The means to stop Hedo, because she's got that plan down in the bag. She just needs Trunks, the muscle, to actually go along with her theory. Because Maya basically thwarted most, if not all, of Hedo's plans around the school to stop X1 and 2, and the boys were mainly there to be the muscle. She was the brains and they were the brawn. If they worked together more cohesively, they could have been a really good team, but, you know, she doesn't really want that. Maya just wants to get on with her lot in life, but yes, I'm certain that she is just steering Trunks along. She doesn't actually care for him romantically, but even then, that's kind of unfair. Nobody should be strung along like that. So, the Dragon Ball Slice of Life portion, was it any good? Kinda. It was neat to experiment with this formula, but it was pretty clear, like with GT, that the higher-ups in charge of all of the production here weren't all that fussed with it when they actually got to it, with the reception. Thusly, they would rather move on to the main meat of the story that everyone's more familiar about and more curious to see what changes from the manga and what changes from the anime movie. However, it did at least provide some further context behind Hedo's imprisonment, at least, and shows us how Goten and Trunks are able to function as teenagers some more, instead of them just randomly showing up. At least there's some context there, keeping up with the action and martial arts and heroics a little bit more understandably, and that they were the inspiration of the Gammas. So it does have some use, but it certainly confirmed to me that Mai, in whatever timeline you put her in, is crucial for Trunks to function. And that's where we're going to be leaving this review for right now, so tune in for next month. Catch you later.